Life tip number 1, college is not necessary. You do not need to go to college to be successful, and I am living proof. If you look behind me, you'll see a silver YouTube plaque, which represents the fact that I got 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I did that in about half the time frame that it would have taken me to get a college degree. Now, I'm filming this video in my own apartment, and I'm paying the rent myself with the income that I generate from making videos like this. The reason why I was able to cultivate this type of life for myself is because I dropped out of college. I dropped out of college and I'm successful. You don't need to go to college to be successful. That is the biggest lie that you have been told in your life. You have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived by the adults in your life, by the people in your life, into thinking that you need to go to college to be successful. Now, I need you to take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, because if you want to be an engineer, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a lawyer, so on and so forth, you need to go to college. You do need to go to college to be successful. But if you want to be self-employed, if you want to create your own schedule, your own work schedule, wake up when you want and eat when you want, do what you want, wear what you want, so on and so forth, you don't need to go to college. College isn't taking you on that path, especially not in the time frame that you probably want. You guys need to understand that college is not necessary. It's not. Okay, pulling out tens of thousands of dollars worth of student loan debt is only as necessary as you determine it to be, depending on your purpose, your individual purpose. You have to determine what your purpose is before you go to college. College is not a place where you go to discover yourself. At one point, it might have been that. But in this day and age, given the price of college, the astronomically high student loan debt that people are accumulating, and I understand that certain bills are being passed and so on and so forth, it goes beyond the money. It's the time that you're spending. You're spending 4 to maybe even 6 or 8 years of your life to get a degree that you're not even going to use. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. You see, a lot of you guys, you have so much potential to be entrepreneurs, to be musicians, and all of these different things that don't necessarily require college. Can you do these things and go to college? Yeah, you can. They're not mutually exclusive, but you have to understand that the time that you're spending in those college classes is time that you could spend toward your purpose. It's time that could be spent making those YouTube videos. It's time that could be spent doing that market research. These are things that will actually directly help you in the pursuit of your goal, in the pursuit of your desired life. You see, one thing that you guys have to realize is that most of you are going to college, and I say most, but at least 50% of you are going to college because you're trying to please other people, especially your parents. You're trying to please other people, and one thing that you'll learn in life as you get older is that you can't please everybody. Kendrick Lamar said it best, you can't please everybody. You can't. It's not possible. And with me being a content creator, I've learned that firsthand. I have learned that firsthand through experience, from me trying to be everything to everyone, me trying to please all of my supporters and even the people who don't support my channel, trying to please the haters and the supporters. I realized it's not possible because everybody has their own unique individual perception of you and your life and what you should do with your life. But ultimately, only you have the full grand scope of your life and your inner desires. With me having over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, what I've realized is that it is literally impossible for me to please everyone. I can't make a video without getting dislikes at this point. It's not possible. It is not possible for me. Unless nobody watches it, it's not possible for me because I can't please everyone. I'm gonna give you an example, okay? And this is an example from my YouTube channel, but it can also be applied to my actual life and your life as well. About a year ago, I was going through this transitionary period where my channel was growing really fast and mentally I was still adjusting to having such a large audience and not being able to please all of them. And I remember I got 2 different comments on 2 different videos within the same month, mind you. And the first comment said, "Jordan, I think you're making too many different types of videos. I think you should narrow down on a niche. It'll help your channel grow faster. It'll be better for the audience," so on and so forth. The other comment read, "This guy is making the same video over and over and over again. I don't know how you guys don't see this." It blew my mind. It blew my mind at the time how 2 people could have not only differing, but completely opposite perceptions of the same person in the same YouTube channel. And what I realized over time is the reason why they had such differing perceptions is because neither of them was watching all of my videos. Neither of them knew the full scope of perspective of my channel and my creative process. Therefore, they had opposite perceptions. And in the same way, nobody has the full scope of your life like you do. Your parents don't have the full scope of your life. You see, you guys are going to college to please your parents. But what you don't understand is that you're the one that's going to inherit that student loan debt from FAFSA. You're the one that's going to spend those 4 years in college that could have been spent working on that YouTube channel, working on being a musician, so on and so forth. You cannot get that time back. You can get the money back. As far as pulling out student loans, you can get a job, you can pay those loans back. But when you loan your time, that's not a loan, that's a gift. You are gifting your time to these institutions. And if you're not getting something in return, something of value, then you don't need to be there. Now, people may argue that a degree is valuable because it opens doors for you. And I'm not going to argue with that. But what I will say is that my definition of value does not include something that is not conducive to your purpose. You see, if I'm walking through a door that I don't want to walk through, if I know that this door doesn't lead to the room that I want to be in, then why would I walk through it? Why would I even want the opportunity to walk through that door? All I'm doing is further complicating my own life when I could simplify things by focusing on the things that I want to do. You don't need to go to college, especially if you're going to college to please other people. Now, the next life tip that I have is a pretty controversial one, but it's very, very true. Tried and tested through my own life. Money can't buy happiness. Money can't buy happiness. It cannot. Now, I've been saying this for the better part of 2 or 3 years now, and it wasn't until recently that I actually experienced financial struggle in my own personal life. Okay, personal financial struggle with me having to pull money out of my savings, out of my nest egg to pay the bills, because there are ebbs and flows with YouTube. And I'll get into that in a second. But what I realized is that having more money, while it would negate a lot of the stress, it would alleviate a lot of the stress that I've experienced from these monetary issues, money can only solve the problems that it creates. Money can only solve the problems that it creates. You can get all the money in the world, but if you have that inner sense of emptiness, if you feel like you're unfulfilled from within because you lack purpose, you don't know yourself, you lack meaningful relationships in your life, especially a meaningful relationship with yourself, money's not going to fix that, because that's not a problem that money creates. In fact, a lot of times, money can actually exacerbate those issues because it makes it even more difficult to find meaningful relationships because you don't know if people like you for you or if they like you for what you have and what you can do for them. You see, it's very important for you to develop a strong sense of self and to find fulfillment independently of material wealth. Now, that's not to say that you have to completely relinquish material wealth. The two aren't mutually exclusive. You don't need to choose between finding inner peace and fulfillment and being rich. Okay, I myself am on the path of doing both, but at the same time, you can't use material wealth as a substitute for inner peace and a positive self-perception. Because what you have to understand is that if your money is the greatest contingency for your self-worth, then your self-worth will be fleeting. It'll be fleeting, it'll be fragile. Because the moment that you don't have that money, and I'm not saying that you'll lose that money, but even the thought of you not having that money will completely decimate your sense of self-worth. For what? For what? Okay, why place your self-worth into what you have? Why place your self-worth into what you do, into your status? Place your self-worth into who you are as a person, into the fact that you exist. You are valid. The fact that you exist means that you're already wealthy. You're wealthy with life. You're wealthy with time. You're wealthy with youth. I don't care how old you are as you're watching this. You are the youngest that you will ever be for the rest of your life. If you're 65 right now, you're the youngest that you'll ever be for the rest of your life. If you're a teenager watching this, you are the youngest you will ever be for the rest of your life. And you need to appreciate that. That's where the fulfillment is found. It's from present moment awareness. Now, what you also need to understand is that life is cyclical. Going back to what I was saying about the ebbs and flows of YouTube, okay, life is cyclical. Something that I've realized in the past few years especially is that Oftentimes, before things come together, they have to fall apart. You don't ever question whether or not the sun is going to come up. But a lot of times, you guys will fall into a state of maybe financial distress, or maybe your grades are bad, or your relationship life isn't working out the way that you want it to, and you think it's over for you. I've seen a lot of self-defeatist people, especially in the self-development community. I see a lot of self-defeatist people, a lot of nihilistic people who don't really seem to understand the flow of life, the ebbs and flows. You see, if you go out into nature and you spend some time in complete solitude and just observation of the way that nature works, just the dynamics of nature, you'll realize that everything works out in perfect harmony and perfect balance. Everything happens for a reason. It is to continue to perpetuate the cycle that reinforces the expansion of this life. Everything is done with that core intention of expansion. And the cyclical nature of life is simply the physical representation of that inner expansion, that natural expansion. But by you comparing yourself to other people on social media, from you trying to please other people like your parents or your teachers, your coworkers, whoever else, trying to impress other people who really don't even care, all you're doing is you're halting that flow. You are halting that flow. You're keeping yourself where you are, and you're preventing yourself from transforming into who you need to be. And oftentimes you're keeping yourself out of the present moment. You see, the present moment is the only thing that truly matters, because no matter what moment you're in life, you'll always experience it through the present moment. A lot of times we create these desires in our heads to push away the present moment. We create contingencies for experiencing the present moment. You have to stop running from the present moment. You have to stop running. You can't keep telling yourself that when you get that relationship, you'll be in the present. When you get that new car, you'll be in the present. When you get that new house, that apartment, you'll be in the present. You can't keep telling yourself that, because all you're going to do is continue to move the goalpost. I know it myself. There was a point in time when I thought with all of my heart that when I hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, much less 100,000, when I hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, I could be happy. I could feel grateful. I could be present. And then I hit it. And then I wanted 10,000, and then 100,000, and then 1,000,000. And then I realized that, wait, even when I hit 1,000,000 subscribers, I'm still going to be in the present moment. So why don't I just enjoy the present moment right now and enjoy every step along the way? Embrace every step along the way. Like I said, there will be ebbs and flows in life. There will be periods of distress, periods of growth, periods of transformation and rebirth. But ultimately, everything happens for a reason, but the only way you'll be able to discern what that reason is by being in the present moment, by embracing the present moment and loving yourself enough to be in the here and now and stop running from who you are. Stop creating these contingencies for self-love, for gratitude, for present moment awareness. This is literally how the law of attraction, or better yet, the law of assumption works, is you are taking that contingency and simply removing it. You're taking the feeling of the wish fulfilled, of the desire fulfilled, and you're embodying that feeling in the present moment. All that feeling is presence. No matter what desire it is that you want, all you want is to be present. So just be present.